Good afternoon. I'd like to call the Western Riverside Council of Governments Executive Committee meeting to order. Janice, roll call, please.
City of Banning. City of Calamasa. City of Canyon Lake. City of Corona. City of Eastvale.
Here.
City of Hemet. City of Yucca Valley. City of Lake Elsinore.
Here.
City of Menifee. City of Moreno Valley.
Here.
City of Murrieta.
Here.
City of Norco. City of Paris. City of Riverside. City of San Jacinto.
Here.
City of Temecula. City of Wildomar.
Here.
County of Riverside District 1. County of Riverside District 2. County of Riverside District 3.
I'm here representing all of them, I guess.
Not quite.
County of Riverside District 5.
Here.
Yes, sir. Eastern Municipal Water District.
Here.
Western Municipal Water District. Morongo Band of Mission Indians. Riverside County Superintendent of Schools. WRCOG TAC Chair. That concludes roll call, and we have quorum.
Thank you. I ask the Marine from San Jacinto to lead us in the pledge, please.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to note that County of Riverside District 1 is present.
Thank you. All right, this time we have public comments. And I have one request to speak. Jeremy Goldman.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, honorable members of the board. My name is Jeremy Goldman. I'm with Southern California Edison, and I want to introduce myself as the new representative for the County of Riverside. Our Department of Public Affairs just went through some changes over the past few weeks. Each city will continue to have a public affairs representative. Your city should have received an email about a week and a half ago with their contact information. So we've had a number of changes within the department. So make sure you've seen that email. If you haven't, please let me know. I can get you my contact info. But again, I will be the main liaison with the County of Riverside. So with that, thank you very much. Look forward to working with many of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have the consent calendar. All items on the consent calendar are enacted in one motion unless a member of the public or a member of this body chooses to pull. Do we have any requests to speak on any items, Janice?
I have no requests.
Okay, I'll bring it up to the dais.
Mr. Chair, San Jacinto will abstain from the minutes.
Okay. And who made the motion? Motion by Supervisor Ashley and second by? Okay, please.
Mic on. Sorry about that. I'd like to pull item 5L.
Okay.
Okay, the motion will delete item 5L.
Okay.
And I also need to abstain from the minutes.
Okay.
Thank you.
And a second by the mayor from Banning.
Thank you.
Okay, please vote.
City, thank you. Western Municipal Water District, please vote. Thank you. That passes unanimously.
22-0. Thank you. All right. So you get a report. Jennifer.
Good afternoon, members of the committee. My name is Jennifer Ward. I'm Director of Government Relations for WRCOG, and I'd be happy to answer any questions on the Beyond program.
Do you have specific questions?
Yeah. Or give an update.
Yes, sort of a question / concern. Because this is really the first time that we're officially seeing this, I know we received the information via email week and a half ago. I have a concern, at least for Yucca Valley. This is something that needs to go before our council, and we did slide it in on our agenda for this coming Thursday. but I don't know that we can turn it around quickly enough to have it in by Friday. So I don't know if any of the other cities are dealing with that. This may be, as I got thinking about it, more of a new city thing where we tend to have more things come before council and maybe discuss more items just because it's not a common thing for us. But that said, I just hope that we can have some leeway there to get in our, for that first deadline of November 6th.
Certainly. The timeline she's referring to is for the first phase of the Beyond program, and I see some nodding heads. Some of you might also be concerned about the timing, and we are definitely want to work with all of the member agencies. This is a new program. We never rolled out something like this before. The short timeline for the first phase, within this first phase, we're not asking the member agencies to submit a detailed application or any supporting documents. We're really just asking for a simple paragraph description of what you intend to use these funds for. Once we receive those paragraph summaries, we'll take a few weeks to review and then notify the member agency to move forward with a full application. Certainly, we can allow some additional time. Again, this is your funding through the Beyond program. Each of the member agencies has a set amount of funding. That amount won't change. We just are doing this application process so that we can get a good idea of what the funds are going to be used for within each community and ensure that it has some kind of connection to the sustainability framework. So we're happy to work with you on that. And if I can answer any questions about the city's ideas or idea, I can certainly do that.
And I can contact you separately on that, but I did have kind of a general question. So a paragraph, and do we need to put in how specific does the project need to be, and is the financial amount, does that need to be included in the initial paragraph as well?
Yeah, so the way the financial amounts work is each member agency has been allocated a specific amount, and the intention of phase one of the application process is to indicate to WRCOG if you'll be using that entire amount for one project and what generally that project might be, or there is the option for every community to split up their funds and do multiple projects, so you would let us know at that time as well. So yeah, the first phase, we would need to know the amount and generally what you want to use it for, but happy to work with you on the schedule for that.
Okay, thank you.
Do we want to change the date then on this, or maybe you have it for November 6th? Can we move it to the end of the month or 1st of December? Would that have a big impact? We need to have some kind of date instead of.
We'll have recommendations from staff.
An option could be to move to the, kind of push the deadline to the next section of the table, which is on your staff report on page 126, which would be November 20th. And then we could adjust from there.
Would that meet everyone's timeline? Anyone else having any issues or concerns with this?
We got to get staff cracking on that.
Marietta?
Make sure they're aware of it.
I guess my question would be, because you start changing one of the time frames, pushing it out, it all of a sudden affects all the other time frames. So my question is this, are we flexible enough so that if there is a question that could be sidelined, or you could deal with cities individually? Because this is not hard and fast in that this is kind of the hope that we're going to get this turned around by these time frames. But if a city needs further direction, they're not going to lose out on their funding because they went beyond that time frame. Is that correct?
Correct.
So I would recommend that we leave the time frames as they are and just make sure that that if there's a concern, once you talk with the city, to come back and make sure that we're moving forward with it. Because I think once we start addressing or changing one of the time frames, it starts changing all the time frames included. Just my recommendation.
We could work on a case-by-case basis with each.
Hemant?
Well, if we went ahead and did, at least for the second week, all of us would have had council meetings either the first week or the second week. So if it were pushed to the Friday of the second week, or Thursday, whatever the case may be, then all of us would have already had their meetings. So I don't think you have to change it too far, but an additional week would be good.
Yeah, and perhaps we could provide that additional week to the jurisdictions that have requested it. We have already received some applications in, so I would hate to notify those communities later than we had originally told them. So I think that goes to your point. So we could certainly, work with Hemet and any of the jurisdictions that bring that concern up on the timeline and make an adjustment to their schedule, but that would allow staff to move forward with the communities that have submitted applications and not delay their funding.
That's a point.
So remember when we first started this, the idea was that we were flexible, and even some jurisdictions might not even use the money this year. They might roll over into next year's money. So as long as you're okay with the flexibility, I'll entertain a motion on this item then. Motion by Murrieta, second by Eureka Valley. Please vote. And that motion passes 22-0.
Thank you.
All right, our next item is the HERO Program Activities Update by Barbara Spoonhour.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, committee members. I'm Barbara Spoonhour, Director of Energy and Environmental Programs. The HERO program provides financing to residential and commercial property owners for energy-efficient water conservation, renewable energy projects. And then that financing is added to the property owner's tax bill so that they repay that on their tax bill twice a year. After today's action of holding a public hearing, accepting the updated program report, and accepting the new associate members, there will be 279 jurisdictions participating in the California HERO program. I wanted to provide you with an overview of the activities that have occurred for the HERO program. From January 2012 through October 29th, there have been over 27,000 applications in the WRCOG subregion, with over 16,500 projects being completed for over $312 million. This equates to annual numbers of over $542 million in economic impact, over 2,657 jobs, 36,247 tons of greenhouse gas reductions, 17+ million in utility savings annually, and 136+ gigawatt hour energy saved on an annual basis. Between WRCOG, Sandbag, California HERO, and the LA County HERO program, I'm pleased to announce that in the next week or so, we will actually hit $1 billion in funded projects in California for the HERO program. Next slide. Last year in November, the WRCOG Executive Committee deferred the judicial foreclosure for the 2013-2014 tax year. On October 5th, 2015, the Executive Committee again deferred the judicial foreclosure for the 2014-2015 tax year. As an overview of the past delinquencies, which simply means the property owner has not paid their entire property tax bill. For 2012-2013, there were 0. For 2013-2014, we had 8. For the 2014-2015, we now have 48 delinquent properties. To date, we had put on 9,125, next slide, 9,125 properties levied for over $21 million. As of October 10th, we have 48 delinquent properties, which is down from the original 75 that were identified in June 30th, 2015. So our number continues to decrease. And this is for a little over $105,000. This, again, is far less than the county's total tax delinquency rate of 1.524%. Next. The final process, the final process for the deferment of the delinquencies is to authorize the WRCOG Executive Director to enter into a sales agreement between Renovate America and WRCOG for the collection of the delinquent HERO assessments. The sales agreement will be finalized for any delinquencies that are final on November 30th, 2015. And this provides that Renovate America will make the payment of the delinquencies to our current bondholder, and then they will assume the rights and responsibility of collection of those delinquencies in the future. And that is our recommended action number 6. Next slide. As part of the program update, an updated Exhibit B of the California HERO Program Report has been included as an attachment to the HERO staff report. This map includes the jurisdictions that will be included in today's public hearing in the cities of Arcadia, Camarillo, Chowchilla, Millbrae, Mountain View, Novato, Oakland, San Rafael, Tiburon, Union City, and the County of El Dorado unincorporated area. Once the public hearing is concluded, I am asking that the Executive Committee adopt Resolution 35-15 to formalize these jurisdictions into the California HERO program. Next slide. I am also asking that the committee accept the cities of Belvedere, Crescent City, Dublin, Mill Valley, Thousand Oaks, and the counties of Butte and Kings County unincorporated area, and then adopt Resolution 36-15 setting their public hearing for November 2nd, 2015. Finally, recommended action to authorize the WRCOG Executive Director to execute the agreement between WRCOG and Renovate America to advance funds to the trustee, Deutsche Bank, for the 2014-2015 tax year delinquent properties. And that concludes my report, Mr. Chair, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing. Janice, do we have anyone on the phone?
Do we have any callers online for the California HERO program? I hear none.
Since this is a public hearing, is it at this time we open up for anyone that wants to make comments on this item? Does anyone want to speak in favor? Does anyone want to speak against? Does anyone want to speak at all? Then at this time, I will close the public hearing and bring it up to the dais. Are there any questions? County of Riverside District 1.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As colleagues will recall, I wasn't a supporter of maintaining a monopoly here, but it is what it is. When you mentioned that the rights will be assumed by Renovate America, and Renovate America is a private corporation, privately held, worth over $500 million that we're protecting here today. What rights are they assuming? The right to foreclose and take the homes?
No, they're assuming the collection rights. So we do not participate in the county's teeter program, which is the third party that advances the funds. Renovate America is acting like our teeter program. So it is only the collection rights of the delinquent properties as of November 30th. So right now it's the 48 for the 105,000.
And so collection rights on a home that you have, I assume, recorded in the deed. What does a collection right entail?
The collection right, they are entitled to, if they collect the penalties and interest, the 10 and the 18%, the same as what the county would collect on its delinquent amounts.
So the homeowner can stay delinquent?
Yes, the property owner can stay delinquent and run into the 5-year process with the county. And if it remains delinquent through the 5 years and the county goes to the tax sale, then it would be settled up at the tax sale.
Very good. That's what I need to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Senator Cinto.
Mr. Chair, I have a question I'd like to pose after the vote because it's not specific to the vote.
Okay. Are you going to make a motion then?
Move to approve as stated.
I have a motion.
Second.
There's a second from Voldemar. Please vote. And that passes 23-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. A few months ago, I approached COG leadership on this item, and maybe you can answer it or the representative from Southern California Electric. Southern California Electric has proposed a solar tax that would be used for those who have taken the opportunity to implement solar on their homes. And they are stating that there is a deficiency in their revenues in regards to supporting the infrastructure. And my understanding is that we've sent a letter to Southern California Electric, and I'd like to get some type of input or update on regards to what Southern California Electric is doing in regards to this proposed tax on solar users?
Certainly. This goes back to a bill that was adopted in 2015 that has a sunset date of 2017, and all of the utilities are providing their proposal to the California Public Utilities Commission in development of a new tariff for solar. So SCE's proposal was one of many, and we're happy to bring back an update from the Public Utilities Commission, because they are the ones who will actually be reviewing and releasing if there is a new tariff that's to be assumed in 2017 for those solar homes.
Yeah, I would appreciate that update. It impacts the HERO program, but it just basically impacts those who are choosing to use solar as a product to help their own bottom line. And now to have a tax be added on top of that is very disappointing.
Correct. And there is one proposal to just leave the tariff where it's at as it stands today. But happy to bring back next month an update from where it is in the proceedings with the California Public Utilities Commission.
Thank you.
County of Riverside District 3.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Barbara, have we taken an official position on these issues before the PUC?
No, we have not.
So historically, and it's been a while, but historically I've had some battles with Edison over rates on behalf of my constituents, and found it very difficult to get a listening ear at the PUC on behalf of our constituents. And I look at this, and I can almost see there's a logical argument made to support roads that are being used by vehicles that don't contribute to the gas tax. Somehow the roads have to get maintained and built. And I know the argument that Edison would make is that they have an investment in the infrastructure and they want to continue to recoup that because they are looking out for their shareholders. I would like to urge this body to be a little bit more assertive in looking out for our constituency, and I'm happy that Mayor Pro Tem Miller brought this up. I think we ought to stay abreast of the issue, and for those folks that are adhering to, and Governor Brown, then AG Brown, led the way in promoting, greenhouse gas legislation, and all of us are trying to adhere to those concepts of sustainable communities, and then to have something come back that's going to be an additional financial burden when we're trying to promote clean energy, and yet then turn around and ask our constituents, our residents, to pay more. I have a problem with that. So if there's a legislative effort that we can put forth, at least to make it known that we are not in support of additional tariffs, I would be happy to be a signature on the bottom of that.
Certainly. We are a member of the Local Government Sustainability Energy Coalition, which is a party to the CPU proceedings. That's the hard part with dealing with the Utility Commission, is that you need to be a party to a proceeding. So we are a member of that, and we can utilize that body as well in submitting letters and being heard as through that party of the proceedings. And happy to bring that back.
Thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion? Okay. Our next item is a report from the League of Cities. We have Aaron Sassen. See, I didn't overlook you this time.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me here today. As you know, it's a little bit slower, which is nice. It allows us to catch up. But we do have several events coming up that I want to make sure you're all aware of. This coming Monday, we do have our next division meeting. It will be hosted by the City of Moreno Valley. This is a really important meeting for us because it allows us to thank all of our business partners that have been sponsors throughout the year at our division and for our golf tournament. And then we also present an award. It's a public service award to one of our elected officials within the county. So I definitely want to encourage all of you to attend. I think we're going to do an overview of what you can do within the league, what policy committees we have, just different opportunities for participation. So if you have some council members that are maybe newer or that haven't been as involved with the league, this would be a good meeting to have them attend just to get some of that information as well. A couple of other items we have coming up. On November 12th, we have another Medical Marijuana Regulation and Safety Act webinar. This is really going over the 3 pieces of legislation that did get passed this year, just so you're all aware of what this legislation means, how it's maintaining your local control. We will also have an in-person meeting on this in January 28th. I believe it will be at the City of Riverside. So if you don't want to do a webinar, you can definitely come to that in person. We'll get that invitation out in the coming weeks. And then also on November 17th, we have a legislative briefing. This is really just a wrap-up of the year that we had in terms of legislation. I know we'll be doing our scorecard again this year for our legislators. But right now is a really good time for all of you, as our legislators are home, to just kind of connect with them. If you have any ideas that you need brought forward in terms of future legislation, this is a really good chance for you to talk to them about that, because they'll be putting together their legislative platforms moving into December and January. So if you have ideas, I'm willing to help you with that, but also just make sure you're letting them know what those ideas are. We also have on November 18th through 20th up in Sacramento our league leaders. This is where the leadership from the divisions come, policy committees, the state board, and we set our priorities for the coming year. So if there's something that you really think that we should be focusing on, I want to recommend that you talk to our our leaders that are going up. Mayor Franklin will be going, so you could share those with her. It's kind of an interesting process. Everybody throws ideas out on the table, and then everybody goes around and votes. So it's really all over the map in terms of what people present. But if there is something specific that you want our area or the state league to be focusing on, this is a really good opportunity for you to get that message up there. You can let me know. You can let Mayor Franklin know, as well as some others. With that, I just want to say thank you for all of your help this year. Enjoy the break from me for a little bit, because we'll be picking back up in January. I know all of those bills that we fought against and supported will be coming back again next year, so stay tuned. But with that, I'd be happy to take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for Aaron? Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Item 6C, potential administration, management of the Riverside County Habitat Conservation Agency, and we have our executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and members of the Executive Committee. This item, as the Chair indicated, has to deal with the potential administration and management by WRCOG of the RCHCA activities. And what I'd like to do is just provide a bit of an overview on what the RCHCA is, how it came about, what it does. Also talk about the circumstances that have brought this forward to WRCOG, and also provide some ideas with regard to how WRCOG could administer and manage the RCHCA, if that is in fact the intent of the Executive Committee. But just to give you an idea of the RCHCA, it is in place. It is a joint powers authority. It is designed to acquire, administer, operate, and maintain land and facilities for the Stevens kangaroo rat. Stevens kangaroo rat is an endemic species to Southern California. It inhabits sparse grasslands and coastal sage scrub areas. It was officially listed as being an endangered species in 1988, and in response to that listing, there was an interim plan put in place in western Riverside County to protect the species. The interim plan led to the formal establishment of the RCHCA in 1990. The RCHCA currently has 11 members, or now has 11 members. The first 6 that you see there listed were original members, and then subsequently the cities of Temecula, Corona, Murrieta, Menifee, and Wildomar joined on as members. The RCHCA is staffed through the County of Riverside. It has an executive director / general manager, and then 5 additional staff. I also wanted to take this opportunity to introduce the general manager of the RCHCA, Carolyn Sims Luna, is out there. She's here to answer any questions that you may have, and also with her is Tiffany North, who is with the County Counsel's Office and acts as general counsel to the RCHCA. Major RCHCA activities include the preparation of an annual report, and in that report it just provides financial updates and statuses of fees collected. It also discusses the status of the reserves, endowments, provides budget, expenses, revenues, summaries, also provides detail on the 40,000-plus acres of habitat that have been acquired and set aside and are being managed by the RCHCA. It gives, as I mentioned earlier, the status of the fee collection. There's a fee that's imposed on development within the member agencies of $500 per acre, and that fee is also $250 per acre if it's a single-family home that's on a parcel of more than a half an acre in size. Those fees continue to be collected. In late September, staff and leadership from the RCHCA approached WRCOG inquiring and asking to have a meeting to discuss an arrangement where potentially WRCOG could manage and administer the RCHCA, in large part due to the fact that the general manager, executive director was going to be retiring. The plan is very stable, and there was a notion that there could be some cost savings and reduce bureaucracy in transitioning the agency to WRCOG. And so with that in mind, we discussed, at least we laid out options. The purpose of this presentation is to discuss in more formative terms the third option, but of course there are many options when you look at something like this. One is to not do anything and leave the agency resting within the County of Riverside, and they can perform a search for a new executive director and move forward. A second option could be to move the agency completely outside of the County of Riverside, which would probably be the most aggressive and intensive from a work standpoint option to do. And then the third option is the one that we're speaking to today with you, and that's more of a transitional arrangement where the JPAs would maintain legal separation, but that WRCOG would serve as the management and administrative arm. Just to give you an idea of some of the issues, go to the next slide, there's a duplicate. One more? There we go. Just to give you an idea of some of the issues that had been discussed. Could you back up one? There we go. Regarding this potential transition. As I mentioned earlier, what we would propose under an arrangement like this is to maintain the JPAs as separate legal entities and rather enter into an agreement with the RCHCA that would provide for WRCOG to manage and administer the staff activities. Now, with regard to the staffing, as I mentioned, the RCHCA currently has a total of 6 staff, the executive director, and then 5 other staff that are county employees. The arrangement that we're contemplating would provide for the WRCOG executive director to assume the position of the RCHCA executive director, and that would preclude the RCHCA from having to hire a new staff person and the costs that are associated with that. The existing county staff could remain as county employees, or they could switch. We haven't really quite figured that out, but we think that it would be fair to provide them with information so that they can best make that determination. It really doesn't matter to us which direction they go. And then we would anticipate, at least for the time being, continuing to use county council to provide council services to the RCHCA. Next slide. The RCHCA currently has a schedule where they meet on a quarterly basis or 4 times a year. There was some discussion, at least when we were talking about this with staff, that if you're really talking about consolidation and trying to reduce bureaucracy, then potentially you could move those meetings on a quarterly basis where they could coincide or immediately follow the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting. The reason we have an asterisk there is it's a little bit easier said than done right now because of the 11 members, the 11 board members of the RCHCA, only 2 also sit on WRCOG. So if that was to happen, it would probably just have to happen over time if, in fact, there was a desire among the RCHCA board members to want to move their meeting. But there could be some economies that could be achieved there. We would propose that the stipends for the RCHCA board members would continue. Next slide. There were some other issues that we discussed that I did not put here on the slide, but as far as the budgets are concerned, again, if we're going to maintain distinction in the JPAs, we'd maintain distinction in the budgets. Any staff time that would be incurred by the executive director of WRCOG and or WRCOG staff in the performance of RCHCA would be, we would be itemizing those and then billing the RCHCA for, to get reimbursed for those services. So we did provide this same presentation to the WRCOG Administration and Finance Committee, and they forwarded this recommendation to you. I did also take it upon ourselves to speak with folks that we thought would have an interest in this. So I did speak with the county executive office quickly with the county executive officer, but I met in a longer meeting with both the assistant county executive officer, George Johnson, and the director of TLMA, Juan Perez, to discuss this, to see if they had any issues, items, concerns, suggestions. They maintained their neutrality on this. I also had the opportunity to speak on a couple occasions with Charlie Landry. He's the executive director of the RCA, and asked him if he could speak with folks that are on his board and see if there are any issues there. And Charlie expressed to me his neutrality on the issue as well. So again, we brought this to our Administration and Finance Committee. They are forwarding it to you, and the recommendation is to kind of continue to move this forward, to work with the General Counsel, both WRCOG's and our CHCA staff, and see if we might be able to fine-tune an existing draft agreement that we have in place right now that would provide for this transfer administration and management activities to continue. And with that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to answer any questions, and if I can, avail both Carolyn and Tiffany to that same opportunity.
Okay, thank you. Janice, do we have any requests to speak on this item?
I have none.
All right, I have someone in the queue, but before we do the queue, I'd like to ask the two members that sit on that board if they want to make comments. Mayor Benoit.
Sure. I was actually chair of this organization last year, so I'm the most recent past chair, and really saw this as an opportunity the year I was chair to maybe bring this to this organization, and didn't quite get all the way there. So Steve Manos is the current chair from Lake Elsinore, and he followed in my footsteps and continued to pursue this goal of that we need to help shrink government, help make our government a little smaller, and this is one opportunity to do that, or we see that as an opportunity. And Carolyn's been a good person for this board, but she's retiring at the end of the year. And with that opening, we didn't want to have to go through trying to find a new executive and reset this board up under a new person. We thought Rick would be an excellent person to manage and move this body in the direction it needs to go. And it was one of the reasons why we brought it forward. So I would applaud this group for hopefully taking me under them, and looking forward to working with the organization as an RCHCA member under WRCOG.
Okay, thank you. Supervisor Ashley, any comments?
No, I'm also served on that same board, and this has been thought about for a long time, but looking at the way the events have taken, the way things look, this looks like the best possible opportunity and alternative available. I support the action as well.
Thank you, sir. Marietta.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Obviously, I look at this and see it as a positive, but are there things that you're going to have to adjust to? I mean, obviously, but are some negatives? I mean, there's always pros and cons of doing something when you start looking at this. I mean, obviously, we feel like the pros outweigh the cons in moving in this direction, but are there things that you look at and think, you know, what's the negative here? Are we missing anything, or is this kind of to the extent of taking over this, there's just so much more positive than there is a negative?
Well, it's a good question. There's always some uncertainty, you know, when you're asked to take on new responsibilities, but there's also opportunities there as well. So I think that, you know, as an agency, and you know, we're intrigued by the efficiencies that can be achieved here under this scenario. I think, you know, really one of the things that was mentioned early on in these discussions is that there has been some desire for some work to be undertaken that would work toward the delisting of the species itself. And so that would be a particularly interesting challenge for us as an agency, given the fact that that's something that does not very often occur. And there's also a lot of new staff, I understand, state and federal agencies, so it's a great opportunity for us to, you know, kind of start fresh and proceed on that. So that's something that we're certainly looking forward to. The additional workload, you know, based on the extensive discussions I've had with the general manager, doesn't appear to be, you know, something that would be insurmountable in any way. One of the things that we'll need to be doing over time is we, you know, meet with the board and get an understanding of what their priorities and desires are, and then we'll move ahead. So it's, you know, in the scheme of new tasks, it's always exciting, notwithstanding some additional workload that comes along with it.
Thank you, Mr. Bishop. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Supervisor Jeffries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. For those of you that are familiar with the March Joint Powers Authority, when that entity convenes once or twice a month. It has on the agenda roughly 4 or even 5 entities that are convening at the same time with the same commission. And when there are issues specific to the 3 cities that are part of the JPA, and then there's the county, but when the 3 cities alone have a utility issue, the county doesn't participate in the vote. But the commission stays in place, stays at the table. You just simply take that up with those entities that are not part of it, not participating. So rather than creating an internal organization within an organization, I think you should ultimately strive towards having it so that if this entity does transfer over, we don't have to have a separate commission to meet. You just conduct it all here, and those who are not a participant in that function of WRCOG in the future just would simply not participate in that vote. Now, certainly the chair or a standing committee could be established going forward to provide some recommendations to the full commission, but trying to have separate stipends, separate organization within an organization just seems to be government at its best, not at the taxpayer's best. But there's got to be a way to do this more efficiently going forward. There will be a transition challenge, of course. That'll be a little bumpy, but let's try not to create 2 organizations within one if we can.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah, that's a great comment, and that was kind of the purpose behind the asterisk in the presentation, is that, you know, logically right now that opportunity doesn't exist because there isn't that similarity among the elected officials. But to get to where you're headed, I think that would be a great step to move ahead. And I think we would, you know, with direction from the executive committee and concurrence from the RCHCA board, kind of move in that direction.
Okay.
Just one last comment. You know, by doing this, you're not going to have 2 executive directors, 2 accountants, 2 everything. You're going down, we have one that already exists doing it. This will be easily absorbed. And if you do it like Supervisor Jeffries is suggesting, it'll actually be streamlined. It'll save a meeting, save money on the stipends and so forth. So that will be looked into. Right now, they'll probably have separate, cities may have separate representatives or the county. They should change them. They don't, they should change. If not, they're going to come down here, wait their turn, which is sort of stupid. I don't think that'll happen. But also our goal should be to delist this. It's really not endangered anymore. It's just a matter of running out the string, and eventually this will disappear. And then we're going to end up with some land left, you know, in stewardship, and we could at that time probably turn that over to the Western Riverside County Habitat Group and let them handle it. Charlie Landry's group take care of it when we get to that point. But we have a ways to go. We should be able to do that in a relatively short span of time if we work at it.
Thank you. Supervisor Washington.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Bishop, maybe I missed it in the presentation, but I thought I heard that the agency, the JPA, is proceeding towards maybe winding down. But yet in several categories, I see numbers proposed for the 2015-16 budget year actually increasing over the previous budget year. Revenues, expenses are going to be higher, total expenses.
Probably because of revenue projections.
Well, so what, yeah, well, do you have an answer for that?
If I could defer to Carolyn Sims Luna.
Hi, Carolyn. Good to see you again.
Supervisor Washington, a former RCHCA board member. What's happening is our permit actually expires in 2026. So about 10 years ago, I had spoken with County Board of Supervisors and the RCHCA board and said, in 10 years, let's take a look before the permit expires as to where the organization will be, knowing full well that I probably wouldn't be here either. And we had to find a home for this. Didn't want anybody caught flat-footed here. So actually, we have a solid 10 more years in this budget, and the way that we work this budget is as our revenue goes up, we're able to take on other programs. So for example, we now are managing a lot of land at Metropolitan Water District. They contracted us. And anybody knows who's dealt with Metropolitan Water District, that's a big badge of honor. I mean, they have taken us in an outside organization, an environmental outside organization, to go ahead and manage their lands because of our efficiency. So as the revenue comes in, Supervisor Washington, what we do then is we look at other programs or other outreach that we can do for the community or other related programs. So you'll see a shifting in there.
Anticipate that going on for some time then?
We actually have a 3-year contract that we're working on. It's renewable annually. We also have been approached from some other land managers because of the scale of efficiencies to take over managing their property also. This organization also has a 3-year reserve so that if we came upon lean times and we're not going to be able to collect the type of mitigation fees that we need to sustain it, we do have that also. So it's a very solid fiscal organization. It's a very frugal organization. We work with our member cities very closely as far as some community outreach programs, some other events. But our main goal right now is to hurry, and it will actually take approximately 3 to 5 years to go through the delisting process. So I would envision that RCOG is probably a very, very good place to have that. The organization, frankly, is in operation and maintenance. We've acquired all our land, unlike the RCA, so we don't have those issues. And as Supervisor Ashley mentioned, it's ripe, it's time. The organization is very poised to come to leadership under Rick. Rick understands the issues that we have, and they're more political now with respect to the delisting. The organization is on automatic pilot for most intensive purposes.
You'll also expect to see some economies of scale then, moving over to WRCOG?
Well, I think with respect to, for example, your legislative platform, I think it's wonderful, and I've also worked on MSHCP out at the CVAG, and it works beautifully in that, for example, your transportation committee or your city managers or your planning director's TAC, if you need information conveyed, you have it right now instead of us sending out staff. In addition, better contact with you as the elected officials to move quickly. And when you are going back to Washington, D.C., you have one legislative platform, so you don't have transportation legislation that is conflicting with maybe some funding legislation for the environmental component, or you're able to negotiate those two. So if you have transportation legislation, you have an opportunity to maybe leverage for delisting. You will have that opportunity here, whereas now they're housed separately. So I think this organization is uniquely poised for that.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr.
Murrieta.
Chair.
Thank you, sir. Murrieta.
I'd like to move staff recommendation.
Second. We have a motion and a second. And before we take the vote, I just want to ask the TAC chair if he's had any concerns from any of the TAC members or his opinion on this.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did speak to our CHCA chair, Mayor Steve Manos, and he wanted to thank the Admin and Finance Committee for all their in-depth conversation and also for consideration. And the conversation, I think, has been very positive, very in-depth, and I think from city manager's standpoint, this is a good move.
Okay, thank you. All right, so the requested action is to direct staff to work with General Counsel, RCHCA staff, and its counsel to develop documents to provide for the transfer of the administration and management activities of the RCHCA to WRCOG. And we have a motion and a second. Please vote. And that passes 21 and 1 no. Okay, thank you. All right, report from our WRCOG Technical Advisory Committee Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We canceled our meeting last month for the city manager tax, so I have nothing to report.
Thank you. Report from committee representatives. So we have the SCAG Regional Council and Policy Committee representatives. Any reports? Okay, no meetings? Okay. Mayor Benoit, anything from the
A couple items coming forward. One is on reclaim facilities. Some other items coming forward are rendering plants. I don't think we have any of those in Riverside County, but we also do have some cement facilities, and we do have a rule coming forward on cement facilities. So I have been working with the cement manufacturing facility here in Riverside. If anyone has any other ones that have any questions or interest, please have them give me a call. Thank you.
Okay. That's it. All right, report from our executive director.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple things to report. As we indicated last month, WRCOG is hosting its second annual holiday LED light exchange, a series of events that will be held in 5 jurisdictions during the month late November through early December. And even though the events are being held in 5 distinct jurisdictions, keep in mind that they are open to residents, any resident within Southern California Edison's territory, where they can bring in up to 2 strands of their old inefficient lights and get 2 new strands. So it was a very successful event last year, and we're hoping to replicate that again this year. Secondly, this past Thursday, WRCOG held its annual Advancing the Choice Expo over at the CSERT facility in concert with University of California, Riverside. The theme of the event was the future of transportation. We're very thankful that, Mr. Chair, you were there at the event, as well as Councilmember Gaiba, and Mayor Benoit was also at the event. Hope that you found it enlightening. Our keynote speaker was Jim Adaffer. Jim is a member of the California Transportation Commission. He's also the chair of the California Road Fee Technical Committee, so he's heading up the effort that was put in place by SB 1077, which is having California put together a pilot program that would look at a road fee to replace the existing gas tax. And so he made a pretty compelling presentation on the merits of that. We also had a panel. Mr. Madaffer also provided a very entertaining presentation on the future of autonomous vehicles, and that was something that was very well received, and we had a good panel as well. We also provided we had a short little video that we put together to try to enlighten the attendees, not just on the future of transportation being behind the wheel, but what other things they could do to enhance their transportation experience, and I think we have that set up to go.
Grab your smartphone before you grab your keys. There might be a better way. You have a choice of apps to help you get around because you have a choice of how you get around. A choice for you and a choice for your family. Trading in your keys doesn't mean trading in your freedom. It means having even more options. And getting around however you want to. There are a lot of obstacles between you and your destination. But finding parking doesn't have to be one of them. Neither does the weather. Or waiting in traffic. There are many choices for fulfilling your transportation needs, and picking up your keys doesn't have to be the only one. WRCOG is working with its member agencies and partners to explore the many alternatives for a mobile lifestyle in western Riverside County.
You probably thought those were all Hollywood actors, but they were all WRCOG staff. And just to give you a little idea of Hollywood magic, the scene with the umbrella came up. It wasn't raining, so just a little Hollywood inside information there. But we thought it was important to talk about the advances outside of just advances of vehicles that people are using to improve their transportation experience. So we thought that was really pretty neat. 2 more things. I wanted to also mention that One of the items on your agenda on the consent calendar was an update on our efforts to develop our regional streetlight program, the acquisition and ownership of the streetlights and the retrofitting of the streetlights to LED and the eventual cost savings to our member jurisdictions. We're going to be having a couple of informational meetings so that you and your staff and members of the public can find out more about the efforts. And so you can see here on the screen we have two events that are scheduled right now. One is in Murrieta on November 4th, and with a second in Corona on November 5th. So we'll kind of see how those go and see if there's a desire for us to expand those as well. And then lastly, I wanted to introduce Shreya Shruti, and if you could stand up. Shreya is our newest graduate fellow, Randall Lewis graduate fellow, who has been assigned to WRCOG. Shreya is currently in her second year of pursuing a master's degree in public health from Claremont Graduate University. She'll be working with WRCOG for the next 7 months, and she'll be assisting us in our health subcommittee activities and participating in WRCOG's Healthy Communities program and agenda activities overall, and representing us on the Riverside County Health Coalition. So we're really thrilled that we were able to get 2 Randall Lewis Health Fellows in a row, and we're really looking forward to working with Shreya. That concludes my report.
Okay. Next is items for future agendas. Do we have any other items? I know we had one that was mentioned earlier. Anything else? Okay. Any general announcements? Okay, everybody's ready to go home. So since we have no general announcements, whoever is responsible for that clock, can we make sure that a time gets set? Okay, I'll get them. Yeah. Okay. I got it. Can we make sure we take care of that clock? That's Norco.
I just wanted to take this opportunity to tell all of you how impressed I am with this entire group and WRCOG, with this being my very last meeting. I've been part of this organization for 12 years, 6 years as the alternate, and 6 years on this board, and 5.5 years on finance and admin. And it has just been such a learning curve for me. I've learned so much. I just have really enjoyed getting to know all of you personally. I just have to comment on the HERO program being one of the initial ones that said, shall we do this? And then shall we move on to the California HERO program, and what shall we even call it? And to see where it is today is just so exciting. So I just want to thank all of you for the opportunity to have this chance to work with you. I'm hoping that in my future, I'll be doing something with government somewhere in the region, and I hope our paths cross again. But again, thank you all. I'm so impressed with every single one of you, and thanks for being my friend.
Thank you, Kathy. I have a blank space on my screen. Corona, did you? No? Okay.
No. Okay, is it my turn yet?
Yes, okay. And then I'll get you, Murrieta.
Thank you.
Supervisor Asher.
Okay, Kathy, again, it was a pleasure working with you. You've been a real conscientious, hardworking member, and really you're great. Great to be around, and you're and wonderful, optimistic view on life. I love that. The other things I'd like to report on is our water task force that's under WRCOG, the County Water Task Force, which has participation throughout the entire county, not just the western county. And it's this bi-monthly meeting out at Western Municipal Water District, and we had speakers from Western Municipal Water District and from all the county agencies, and they give us the impact, the latest nitty-gritty on El Nino. It's going to happen. We had a number of other people over there that might want to comment. They're here. And it was really a great show. And then the agencies reported on how they're prepared. And we are, believe it or not, we are prepared as we can be and getting better all the time. So it'll be devastating if it hits like they think, but we're as ready as we can be. The second thing is and we should take great pride, WRCOG, we're putting that on. That is one of the best series. You want to keep up on water issues, you go to that every 2 months, and you'll know just about everything that's going on. Second is the opening of the 215 Central Project, 12 miles, and it goes from Scott Road in Murrieta to Nuevo Road in Paris, is open all the way. The Paris Gap is finished. Right now, traffic is free-flowing within the area out there, the area where this was built, and roughly between Marchfield, the Ramona Expressway, roughly in that area there, all the way back to the Y. It's free-flowing now. Now, trouble is we're getting up to the Riverside area faster, so that slow little crawl you get at Moreno Valley around Alessandro is moved back to March, to Eucalyptus, maybe even there. But so we need the extra lane for the HOV vehicles. We'll work on that in the future. And some of our TUF money was put into some of those projects. And lastly, we're going to have the State of the County at the Morongo Resort and Casino is going to be November 19th, Thursday, November 19th, the Thursday before Thanksgiving. Starts about 10 o'clock. And I'm chair of the board this year. I'll be delivering the State of the County. In addition, each supervisor will have a report on the activities of their area. It'll be filmed ahead of time, be very quick. And plus, we're going to have Christopher Thornburg is going to make an economic forecast just for Riverside County, not an Inland Empire one, just for Riverside County. So I invite you all to come. And so far, we already have about 330, 340 reservations, and they're coming in. And it only holds about 400, so you better, find somebody who's got a table real quick. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Murrieta.
I just wanted to say how much I've enjoyed working with you as well on the board and the executive committee, and wanted to thank you for all your years of service. I also wanted to commend if anybody ever wonders about police response times in Riverside with sheriff, or how easy it is to get business done and how quickly it is. If you look back at the clock, it has been changed. Thank you, officer, for your quick response time and no bureaucracy in getting that taken care of. Thank you.
Councilman Gaiba.
I guess I should.
Moreno Valley.
Sorry, I didn't hear which one it was.
Somebody pushing the buttons over there.
I'm up. First of all, I wanted to also say thank you, Rick, and your team for putting together, advancing the choice. I did attend, I did enjoy it, and I'd recommend next year you all attend. It was well worth the time that I spent there. And I got to take a picture in a BMW. I'll tell you what, that was a nice machine. So. But more importantly, I'm real pleased that we've been working with League of California Cities, and we've actually gotten an opportunity to serve our entire community by getting Mr. Michael Coleman out to Moreno Valley to host an all-day seminar workshop at the City of Moreno Valley on November the 21st. In your packets are cards so that you can take those home. It's open to anybody. Free lunch with your RSVP. And I have had an opportunity to listen to Michael Coleman's presentation. It's the all-day one, and it's well worth all of you in your community. That's why we titled it Everything You Always Wanted to Know About City Finances but Didn't Know Who to Ask. And this will really enlighten you, your public, your local constituents. It's open to anybody to come and learn more about municipal finance, so that when they come to the podium and say you should have done this, we'll get few of those because they'll understand we probably couldn't have done that. So I encourage you to come out to that. It's Moreno Valley hosting that. So,
thank you, Councilman Gaiba, for putting this on, and thank you to the City of Moreno Valley for hosting it. Did you want to speak again, Kathy?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify that some of you are looking at me a little deer in the headlights. Some of you may not know that Norco's election is on odd years. So tomorrow is the Norco City Council election. And after 12 years, I decided not to run. And I'm wondering why I decided that now, but that was the decision I made back 6 months ago. And so we'll have our election tomorrow. And the other thing I wanted to see is, I was going to ask Erin, because I forgot to ask when she was up there, is if we have councilman-elects, could we do a last minute, include them to the league meeting? And I'd love to bring them to that meeting on Monday. We could just bring them in late after the election's been tabulated. And thank you for the kind words, those of you who spoke.
Thank you. Supervisor Washington.
Well, Kathy, I sure did that math, that tomorrow's the election. And as you're expressing regret now, I guess it's too late for a write-in effort, right?
You even have to do paperwork to do a write-in.
I've served every minute alongside you for your 12 years, and thoroughly enjoyed it. I love you, and I'll miss you.
Any more announcements? All right, our next meeting is scheduled for December 7th, 2015 at 1400 here at the County Administration Center. The meeting is adjourned.
Here we go. It was good.